Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Favi, and welcome to Arrows DIY. On my channel, I love creating Dollar Tree DIYs, high-end dupes, thrift flips, and the occasional trash of treasure. This is another episode in my Christmas series, and today I'm sharing 5 DIYs for Christmas in the farmhouse style, each under $5. These DIYs are made using Dollar Tree calendars, and I'm actually offering some farmhouse calendars today as part of a giveaway to show my appreciation for my milestone of 3,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. So I do hope that you enjoy. And if you find an idea or two for your home decor, please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out my channel. All right, so let's get started. At the Dollar Tree, I got this ornament sign thing. It's MDF, and I'm gonna pop off the tag as well as that top metal piece. It popped off pretty easy. It does bend a little bit, but you could easily just bend it back. I'm also going to be using this calendar page from the 2023 calendars from Dollar Tree, and I took the page that says Joy. Now, I'm going to use some Mod Podge. If you are the Mod Podge police, cover your eyes because this video has a whole lot of Mod Podge. I love putting a good amount of Mod Podge on there because I just hate having to add more. I'd rather just put a whole bunch and then take it off. But do what you like on your project. I put a good healthy amount of Mod Podge on there and I let it dry. So when I started this project, I was gonna just Mod Podge the entire print on, but as time went on, I wanted to try something different. So I took out my paper cutter and I'm just going to cut a rectangular portion out of the center of this calendar. I wanted to keep the distressed planks and the word joy, and just cut out the rest. It is really pretty. I just wanted to do something different. If you like unique home decor, I invite you to subscribe. I love making unique home decor on a budget. I would love for you to join our family here on YouTube. All right, so then I went ahead and I carefully used my paper cutter, lifting that blade right over that curly end on the letter Y. And now I'm just going to fussy cut the rest of the letter using some detailed scissors. And I do have to go back and trim some more of that excess white that was left on that letter. I go ahead and I do the same thing for the letter J, making sure to keep the same amount of space on both sides of the word joy. So now we're going to do the same thing to the other side, taking our time to fussy cut as close to the letter as possible. And we also want to make sure that the sides are nice and straight. Now, it is important to take as much of the white off the letter because we're going to be painting the sign, the ornament sign, in black, and it will show. So just take your time and get it done. Or you could just paint your sign white, whatever you want to do. So now it's time to paint. I use the color by Folk Art called Licorice. It's just a matte black paint. And I paint some stripes on both sides of the ornament. I also make sure to get all around the edge as well. Then I realized that my stripes were not wide enough and I didn't want them to peek behind the joy sign that we cut. So I just gave it another coat in the same black paint. Now once everything is nice and dry, this is what it's looking like. And I'm going to center that piece that we cut earlier. And I'm loving how it's looking. Now I take some wax paper and I put it over the calendar page and I'm going to iron it on. This is the easiest way I've found to not get any bubbles when you are Mod Podging, especially difficult materials like this calendar page. If you've ever used these calendar pages, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's like a silky paper. It's very, very difficult to work with at times. So this is the best way I've found to Mod Podge this. Now, since we painted the sides in black, I just went in and added a little bit of Mod Podge around the corners. You could definitely add another coat of Mod Podge over the black paint. It was a total afterthought for me. Next time I try this project, I'm definitely going to add one layer of Mod Podge, let it dry, and just iron this on. To keep everything nice and even, I did go in and iron everything. Once everything was nice and dry, I just went ahead with some sandpaper. My sandpaper's from the Dollar Tree, nothing fancy. I just went in and sanded all around the edge to get that excess paper off and get a nice smooth edge. I also went in and distressed the edges of the sign because I just wanted it to match the center of our design a little better. The center pattern is kind of like a rustic distressed look, and to me, I thought that it was too much of a clean looking sign. But this is totally personal preference. You don't have to distress yours if you don't want to. I apologize for the background noise. I'm in a city and I live here with my 5 kids, so if you hear my kids, I am so sorry. Apologies. I do what I can. So now I take the top of the ornament and I add some antique wax to it. I use a foam sponge applicator and I just dab on the antiquing wax, and I'm just going to let it dry with that design on there. Now you want to be careful not to touch your antiquing wax until it's fully dry, but once it's dry, it's totally fine. You don't need to seal it because antiquing wax actually does seal your project. Now I took some ribbon. This is also from the Dollar Tree, so I think we're well within our $5 budget. I'm just going to cut 2 strips in that ribbon, and I'm going to dovetail the ends and add some greenery I just had on hand. Now I don't want it to get too bulky around the top of this sign because we do have to add that metal piece back on. So I just carefully laid down the ribbon with some hot glue, and then once it was adhered, I made a very simple cinch before the hot glue had fully set. Now I wanted to add some more features. This is totally optional, but I feel like bells would add more to the joy of this sign. I just think bells are just so cheerful, so I felt like it was a must. I went ahead and I tied them together with a little piece of jute cord from the Dollar Tree, and then I attached another little piece to that. That way it's not too bulky in the center of this wreath when I hot glued that last jute twine to the center there. Once everything was nice and adhered, I went and I added this metal piece and I touched it, which I told you not to touch it, but it's an easy fix, not a big deal. And I used some E6000 as well as hot glue to adhere that piece on there. And to help it stay in place, I added some of the clips from the Dollar Tree until it was fully set. I also added some more antiquing wax to the bells so that they match the rustic look of our piece here. But let me know what you think about this one. I really do like it. I think it's very unique and well within our $5 budget. Like I said before, this is the 5 Under 5 monthly challenge hosted by Missi of Crafty Cove DIY and Emily from Farm Charm Chic. This month's guest host is Krista from Krista's Crafty Life. I'll leave all their channel links in the description box below, as well as the playlist link. So please check that out if you have a chance. A whole bunch of us have a ton of Farmhouse Christmas inspiration for you. So for this next project, I'm going to be using this coffee can. As you can see, I just fully took everything off, and as well as this Dollar Tree calendar page with the Christmas trees. I was obsessed with the Christmas trees. I think they're just so beautiful, and I wanted them to be the focal point on this coffee canister. So I went ahead and I just wanted to create a raw edge on them. I used the side of my ruler to separate the calendar page, and now I want to create a raw edge. So I want this to look very rustic. I started off by folding over the calendar page on itself lengthwise without forming a crease in the center, and I just cut a raw edge on both sides just to speed this up. And then I took the Farm Fresh word and I wanted it to be the same width as the other one, so I also folded it in half without making a crease, and just kind of used that as a guide for the length. And then I just ripped off that edge as well. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. We were going for a rustic look. Once they're both cut off with that raw edge, I also cut off the top of that Farm Fresh word just to get that dot off from the calendar page. And then I just cut off little snippets. Next, we're going to take some Mod Podge and we're going to apply it. I used a very wide foam applicator, also from the Dollar Tree. The most important part is that you're adding a nice even layer of the Mod Podge, and we're only going to add it to the center portion of the can all the way up to the top of it. We're also going to be sure to put the Mod Podge deep into those little grooves. Once we have the Mod Podge applied, we're going to add our calendar page and line it up right to that rim, the top rim of the coffee canister. Then we're just going to press in the calendar page into the grooves. And the reason why I chose to do this is because I wanted these grooves to add dimension to the trees so that the trees have a 3D effect. Once I have all of that calendar page pushed into the grooves on that center tree, I'm going to go ahead and start pushing in the calendar page in the grooves on the side of the right tree, and I do the same thing to the one on the left side. Paying close attention, start at the center, pushing in the calendar page into the grooves, just like I said before, and then we're going to go and adhere the rest of the calendar page on there. Now, I wasn't too concerned if there were some wrinkles. We are going for rustic. It's totally fine. But if you don't, just to minimize the wrinkles, you want to focus on pushing the calendar page into the grooves first and then flattening the rest of the page to the rest of the flat areas on the can. So this is what it looks like once it's all adhered. And you see the 3D effect. I thought that was really cool. All right, so now we're going to Mod Podge the bottom part. And this part is very easy because it's nice and flat. I'm also going to use the sponge applicator to press in some Mod Podge to the edges, making sure that the words line up to the top picture. Making sure that the edges of the Farm Fresh word line up to the edges of the other picture. So once everything is nice and sealed, all the edges are nice and sealed, we're going to use some of this brushed metal paint. This is also by Folk Art, and I'm just going to paint the rim of it in this gold color. I paint the top rim, and I also wanted to add some texture, so I did just scrape the excess paint off of my paintbrush and kind of dab my paintbrush to create a galvanized metal texture to create a hammered look. And then I just randomly added some more paint in random spots, as well as all those little grooves in the back. Once I have all the paint in that area, I go in with some antique wax, and I just add antique wax to the center portions, dabbing it with my paintbrush just to add some age effect to the rim of this canister. Now, I really like the way this comes out. I feel like it looks very rustic, kind of like it's been sitting outside for a really long time. This is fully optional. If you want your can to have a nice clean look, you can keep it the way it was. I think the silver rim on it was really pretty. If not, you could also just add black. Black paint would also look really nice. So just make this project your own. Now I'm going to take some pool noodle and I'm going to fill in the inside of this can. And I wanted to make sure that they weren't too long so they didn't stick out outside of the can. I wanted them to be the proper length to not pass that rim. Now I'm going to take some burlap that my sweet friend MaryBeth from MB Gray Design sent me. She's just the best. This burlap is from Hobby Lobby, so it's good quality, but you could use any fabric from Dollar Tree or an old t-shirt from your home. I just stuck that Dollar Tree Christmas tree inside of that center hole from the pool noodle, and it stays nice and snug. And I just used some of the jute cord from Dollar Tree to tie it to kind of give it more of that farmhouse look. And I also pushed in that burlap between the pool noodle inside and the inside of the can, so it stays nice and snug in place. And that's all it took. Well under $5 with this $1.25 tree from Dollar Tree. I also added a little ribbon from my stash on there, this little off-white lace ribbon. But let me know what you think about this one. I love the way it turned out. It's super charming in my opinion. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this one. So for our next project, we're going to be making a pizza pan sign. Yes, a pizza pan sign. I've only made about 2 on my channel, and I just love the effect it gives. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this 2023 Farmhouse calendar, which I'm actually offering up. All you got to do to be entered to that giveaway is write a comment below my video and just include a little Christmas tree and a heart emoji, and you're entered. The giveaway is going to be active until the next 5 for 5 challenge video. So until November 5th, 2022 is the last day to be entered to that giveaway. So good luck, and thank you so much for all of your support. I truly appreciate it. If you want to know everything that's included in that giveaway, I have a picture of everything included in the Farmhouse giveaway. The last winner didn't claim it, so it's still up for grabs. All right, so for this one, as you can see, I just added a good amount of Mod Podge. Once the Mod Podge was fully clear, I adhered this picture. I creased the sides of the calendar page and then I cut it out. And now I ironed it on just like before. Now, when I added the Mod Podge to seal this picture, I did not add enough Mod Podge, so it actually caused the Mod Podge to bubble up. Another reason I think it bubbled up is because it wasn't fully set yet. So I do fix it in a little bit, but I was so upset about it, I just kind of ignored it and continued to this next portion. I used some of this bronze paint from the brushed metal line of folk art paint, and I'm just dabbing on a good amount randomly around the edge of this metal pizza pan. Once I dabbed it all around, I turned the foam applicator sideways and I dabbed off the excess paint, kind of sponging off, blending in the paint by dabbing the sponge applicator. Now I'm adding some antique wax the same way I just added the bronze paint, taking off the excess by sponging off the excess with the side of the sponge applicator. Now to finish it off, I wanted to add a smoky effect to this pizza pan. So I took some black paint, the same licorice paint that I have on hand, and I dabbed off the excess on my work surface, as you can see. And then I kind of randomly dabbed on this paint, kind of like dry brushing it, sponging it. I have no idea how to explain that, but I just did that randomly all the way around, adding a smoky aged effect to this piece. Now I'm gonna cover the metal empty spots with this nautical rope. So I just hot glued this nautical rope all around the inner rim of this pizza pan. And once we have that all on, I'm going to add another feature. This is going to help give the rustic Christmas look. But first we have to make a hanger. So since we have a little pig in the middle of our sign here, I thought it'd be cute to add a little curl kind of inspired by a pig's tail. So I just took the excess nautical rope, wrapped it around into a loop, and hot glued that end to the beginning portion there where we started, kind of connecting it to where we started that nautical rope in the first place. Now I'm taking some red and natural jute cord from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue it on both sides of this nautical rope, just to add some more of that rustic Christmas vibe. And I couldn't take the bubble anymore. So this is the part where I broke down and put the wax paper. I put the wax paper, well actually the parchment paper, right on top, and I ironed it just like before. After 2 goes with the wax paper and iron trick, it disappeared, and I was so happy because I wasn't sure if it was going to work since we had already Mod Podged the project. But as you can see, you can still iron on a bubble, iron off a bubble after you Mod Podge a project. To my surprise, I was so happy that that bubble was gone. Now you do want to be mindful, this is a metal pan, so it does get hot. It takes longer for your Mod Podge to dry, which is why I think it bubbled in the first place when I added the Mod Podge on top to seal it. That's just my theory. Let me know your theory in the comments below. All right, so once that was done, I went ahead and I added the other jute cord around the edge. Now I took this ornament from Dollar Tree. We're still within our $5 budget, by the way. And I just ripped off the florals. My Christmas decor is still in the basement. I have not taken out my Christmas bins, so this is just what I have on hand in my Christmas in July stash in my creative space. So I ripped off these florals from this little ornament, and I'm just going to make a little Christmas collar for our pig. I manipulated the greenery so that it surrounded the berries, and then I hot glued it on an angle, being sure not to cover the home sweet home words at all. But you also wanted to make an arch around the neck of the pig. Now I took some jute cord and I wrapped it around a 7-inch wood block about 25 times. And then I made a shabby bow. I cut off the ends of the bow and made it very messy, which I love. You could totally add more ribbon, but I have a $5 budget here, so I'm doing what I can. I took some more pine cones from my stash. This is fully optional. You could also just make your bow a lot bigger. I just wanted to cover a little bit of the space there and add some more fun details. This is, just fully optional, so you don't have to do this part if you don't like it. But there is my crazy bow. Now, I thought that the berries on the collar were too bright against the rustic red on this piece, so I took some antiquing wax and dabbed it on there to make it more rustic, and that's how it looks. You gotta let me know what you think about this one. Definitely Farmhouse Christmas, and I'm so glad I got to use this calendar page. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments box below. For this next project, we're going to be having lots of fun. I'm going to take this wood plaque from the Dollar Tree. I've had it in my stash forever, and I'm going to give it a good coat in this Mod Podge. Now, I used a big chippy brush that had antique wax on it, and I thought it gave it the coolest speckled look. So this is what I'm showing you here, the cool speckled look. I don't know, I thought it was cool, so I'm just sharing it with you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take out my paper cutter, and I'm going to use this Farmer's Market page, the one that says Season Greetings in the December calendar page. And this is also offered in the giveaway, so don't forget to comment below to be entered into that giveaway. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this in half, being careful to get the trees and the truck on 2 separate pieces. We're going to be making a double-sided sign. Super fun. My son loves this one. He thought that this one is his favorite, so I think it's super cool. I'm going to go ahead and center this truck to this wood piece, and just as before, we're going to use the wax paper and iron trick to Mod Podge this on. Once it's nice and adhered, I'm going to go in and I'm going to sand off the edges. Be careful when you take off the iron because this calendar page gets really, really hot. I'm going to rip off the edges just to give it a rustic tear on some of the parts on the sign. And then I'm going to sand off the edges. You see that rustic tear? I love it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just use the sandpaper just as before. And this was a really rough piece of wood, so I actually had to sand the wood on the other side as well. I also sand a portion of the bottom of the calendar page to give it a rustic texture. I'm going to use this very bushy short brush. I'm not sure what it's called. I'll see if I can find the name of this specific paintbrush that has seen better days, but it still has a wonderful effect for like distressing. So I'll see if I can find it. It's from Plaid. If I could find the name of the brush, I'll link it in my description box. But anyways, I take a tiny bit of antique wax, and I just brush over the raw edges on this paper just to accentuate the ripped edges on the paper. Now, instead of dabbing my paintbrush back into the lid of my antiquing wax, I just chose to dab my paintbrush back on the paper so that when I reload it, I don't add too much paint on my paintbrush, giving it a very faint distressing. I just prefer doing it this way so I have more control over the amount of antique wax that we add. You could always build more antiquing wax. Now I add a good amount to the top of this sign, and then I blend it with this brush. This brush is awesome for blending. I think that's the word I was looking for, blending. I blended the edge, and I also went heavy all around the edges of this piece. So this is how it's looking once it's all distressed. And I wanted to cover that raw edge at the top there, so I just dabbed on a good amount of antique wax right in those areas. And then I kind of took a good amount of antiquing wax and built a lot of it, giving it like a stubbled paint look. And I really like how that looked. It kind of reminded me of the rusted bottom of a truck. So now we're gonna use a bamboo stick to poke out those holes so we can add the hanger in a little bit, and we're going to flip this over and add a good coat of Mod Podge. Once we add the Mod Podge, we're going to let it dry just as before, and then we're going to take the other half of the calendar page and center it. I centered it so that you could see the top of one of the trees and half of the other tree. I really like the trees in these calendar pages. They did a really good job on the trees, in my opinion. And then I took the wax paper, put it on top, and then ironed it on. So now I'm just going to cut an angle into the side there so that we could sand off the edge without tearing the paper. Now for this side of the sign, I wanted to have more of a cleaner look. It's not distressed at all. It's kind of like a different effect on this side of the page. I wish I had Mod Podged it a little more to the right, but it'll be fine. I took some of this ribbon, this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I cut it so that it would cover the arch there. I also wanted to create a fringe at the bottom of this ribbon. I made sure to keep the full width of the burlap ribbon. Then I just tore off some of the strings to create that fringe. Next, I folded over the fringe so that it would pop off of the sign once we hot glued it. And then I hot glued it to the piece. So I've been dying to try this specific bow I saw on Pinterest a long time ago, and I'm gonna try it here on this burlap ribbon. I'm not sure that I'm the best explainer on it, so if I can find the link to the Pinterest, I will. So what I do is I fold this ribbon over on itself, and then I fold it again lengthwise. Then I cut a bottle shape, kind of like a pear shape, on the edge of this ribbon. You'll see that I have to cut it a couple times to get the proper shape, but at the end of it, it should look kind of like a vase when you're looking at it vertically. So now I'm going to open it up and I'm going to cut a slit at the top on both sides, on opposite sides, so that we can slip them together, locking them like so. So once they're connected, they should give you an awareness bow symbol. You could not do this at all and just do a regular bow. I just wanted to try something different. Now the shape wasn't quite right, so then I had to cut the bottom where it's folded, and I just pushed that bottom part into the center to make this really cool bow. I really wanted to try this. I'm not sure why, but I really wanted to do it, so that's what I did. I kind of just create with the flow, right? The creative flow, the creative juices were flowing, so that's what was happening here. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that to the center there. If you'd like a more detailed tutorial on this bow, I can definitely make it for you. Leave it in the comment box below. I just wanted to share how I made that bow because it's on this piece. Now I took some of the berries off of the pip berry garland from Dollar Tree, and I added it to the center of that bow. Now I took another piece of that pipberry garland and I'm going to make it the hanger of this piece. I started off with this green and white pipberry garland, but I ended up changing my mind because that green was not the right green and it was driving me nuts. So I'm showing you here how I attach it with my little helper here. As you can see, he helps so much holding the camera for me. But anyways, I attached it like so. In a little bit, I changed this out to a red pipberry garland, but I attach it the same exact way. Now I'm going to take the hanger that was on this piece at the beginning. I'm going to take it and I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open the 3 strands and pull them apart. Now I'm going to take some bottle brush trees from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to tie them to this jute rope. I'm going to tie them to this jute twine. So I just very simply tie them to this and make a double knot on the other end. And I just wanted it to look like a rustic decor piece. So I did the same thing for all these trees. I have 3 green trees and 2 white trees. As always, you know, symbolizing my children, as I always do. I'm going to go ahead and attach this red pipberry garland and then just make a loop on top just for kicks. This is just a fun project, but this next project is my absolute favorite. So I hope you're still here. If you're still here, let me know in the comments below because I would love to know if you're still here. And if you are, thank you so much because this video is so hard to edit with my life. As you can see, I have quality control here, making sure that everything is made to par. And that's how it looks. Now, once I get all those red pipberries in the center of the bow, I'm going to hot glue these trees to the bottom. So I'm going to hot glue the double knots as equally as physically possible at the current moment with this little boy here. I'm just going to hot glue them like so. And I thought it was so rustic and fun. Let me know in the comments below. I know it's kind of crazy, but it makes me smile, so I consider it a success. And I said it's my little boy's favorite. He said, I love that one when he saw me staging it. So right now it's hanging up in the kids' schoolroom and they love it. All right, so here's the project close up. Let me know what you think about this one. I do think it's adorable. All right, so for our last project, I got this massive MDF board. It's so thick and heavy, but I got it at Family Dollar. And I think I paid $3 for it because it was like a 4th of July massive sign. It also has some metal USA letters on it, so I'm definitely taking those off and using them for 4th of July. So I'm going to give it like a rough paint job. This is totally inspired by Lianep over at DIY Beauty on Purpose. I just love the way she distresses her pieces. I mean, this is not wood, but it's fine. Thank you, Lianep, because I love this technique. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this really rough all around the edges as well. I'm going to catch the edges as well. So I just made sure to paint the center very solid and leave the edges a little bit more rough. Now I'm going to use this calendar page from the Dollar Tree. It's from the Merry Christmas. I believe it was last year. I'm not sure, but I fussy cut it. I'll leave it in the description box below. But once I cut that out, I cut out only the wreath. I mean, you could put the Merry Christmas word on there. I just wanted this to be a very simple and rustic look. So that's the calendar page it came from. And I added a good coat of Mod Podge all over this board and I let it dry fully. Once it was fully dry, I go in, just as before, with the wax paper and iron technique. Make sure your iron is not super high. You want to keep it on a low to medium setting and just take your time Mod Podging it on. It might take a couple tries, but I'm telling you, it's beautiful. Now I'm not a power tools lady, but I could not find another way of attaching this basket without power tools. So, I mean, I don't have anything against power tools. It's just I don't really use them very often. So I borrowed my husband's drill, and I also marked the spaces with the pencil where they would surround the bars that touch the board at 8 points. I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I just used a small drill bit and cut some holes. My holes are not even straight. I mean, I could have asked my husband to do this, but I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And I did the best I could. I just drilled 8 holes on this board, and I'm going to be using some cable ties in a little bit to attach this on. All right, so I took this basket, and you could spray paint this, and this would take 2 seconds for you, but as you know, I don't do that. So I'm going to paint it with this brushed silver color, and it took a while, but it's okay. I enjoy the process. Once that was fully dry, I go in with these 4 colors. The first is wicker white, the second is a medium gray color, and then the same brushed silver color, and this licorice black color by Folk Art. They're all in a matte finish, and I am just going to use a tiny skinny brush and just paint it horizontally and vertically, and just have fun. Start with the black color, then do the white color, then do the gray color, and you'll see it come off. Now, once all the colors were added, I went in with a sponge brush and I dabbed off the excess paint, and it helps everything blend together. You can control how light this piece comes out or how dark it comes out depending on which color you add. And the more you add of a dark color, the darker your basket will be. I wanted it to be a medium finish, and in a little bit I'm just going to add some antique wax to give it a rusty look, which I love so much. So here I am using the kid brush from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take some antiquing wax. Now I do have some water in my kid paintbrush right now, and I'm adding on a watered layer of antiquing wax first to give it a soft brown color, and I'm doing that all around the bottom as well as the edge, randomly around. Now I'm going to add a thicker, a more stronger color of the antiquing wax, and I'm going to put that all around the intersections as well as the edges of my basket. And you can make this as heavy or as light as you like. I just focus mostly on the intersections of the basket where I think a basket would naturally rust in, I guess, nature. Now, once I was done, I went in and I dabbed off the excess just as before with the foam applicator brush. Now, once this is fully dry, I aligned it to the lines that we had measured out before we drilled this stuff. And I'm going to add some zip ties, making sure the right direction is facing so that we can pull the zip tie once it's in position. I added it to the bottom hole on all 4 sides, and then I just fished it through one of the bars of the basket, and then I put the zip tie right back in to the top hole that we drilled, and then I pulled all of them very, very tight. Then I cut using a needle nose plier. I just cut the end off, and I would recommend probably covering the back of this project with something durable, maybe some brown paper, maybe some felt to protect your wall if you're going to be hanging this from a wall. I am not. I'm just going to have it resting for now. I might hang it later, but I need to buy some a stapler. I need to buy a staple gun. So if you'd like to support my channel, I'll leave the link below to my Buy Me a Coffee account. I use the money there to upgrade my filming equipment and provide you a better viewing experience and buy tools that I need to make these projects. Now I took some ribbon from the Dollar Tree, the same ribbon, and I cut 2 pieces long enough to cover the whole board, and then I tied a knot in the center. I tied the knot very, very tight. I put the center of the knot in the middle of the board, and I kind of cut it on a soft curved angle on both of the ends of the ribbon. Okay, so now I'm trying to make like a vintage gift bow, but I wanted it to be wispy and very delicate. So it took me a really long time to get this wave formation. Basically just making an S on both sides of the wired ribbon. The more expensive your ribbon, the better your S formation will be. But then I just hot glued one slightly lower than the other one, probably about 1.5 inches lower from the other one. And the other side, the left side, I hot glued right to the top corner edge of the sign. But that's how it's looking. I think it's gorgeous. This is my absolute favorite one, but I want to know which one was your favorite DIY today. I had so much fun creating these within $5 budget. It's always so much fun participating. So thank you so much, Emily from Farm Charm Chic, Missi from the Crafty Cove, and Krista's Crafty Life. Thank you so much for hosting this and allowing us to participate. Don't forget to check out the playlist link in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. Don't forget to comment below to be entered into the Farmhouse calendar giveaway. And as always, friends, thank you so much for watching. Take care. God bless. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. If you like this video, here's another one you might enjoy.